One family, one people, one planet, one love. One family, one people, one planet, one love. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Soul Call Sunday. My name is Lisa Ferraro. I'm the founder and spiritual director of SoulCall Ministries. And wherever you are on your path to evolving your consciousness, we welcome you. This week, as we shift into freedom for the month of July, and the main theme of today is planting the seed of intention. Planting the seed of intention. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and we were talking about when your mind is just kind of idle, where do your thoughts go? If we're so fortunate to not be thinking so much, or if you are thinking thoughts intentionally, what are those thoughts? How does that work? How does that even work? And what's the difference between a goal and an intention? Maybe goals, small steps, as I work with coaching clients, small steps, short-term goals can get you to your long-term goal or intention. I think there's a play like that there. As Mary Oliver, the poet, said, attention is the beginning of devotion. So where we put our attention, like on a goal, we're devoted to seeing it through. Where our consciousness is, that's where our energy goes. Where your thoughts are, that's where your energy goes. So there's this play between goal and intention, but an intention is a little deeper because it's the thing we are striving for the most. And it's intention that is required, and the play on attention and intention. You know, it's this going within part. No mistake that that's in the word intention. Intention without going within is just tension. And sometimes on the path of just goal setting, we get caught up in the world of what is already here. You know, Einstein said you can't, fix a problem with the same mind that created it. In other words, if we're always operating, and I said this a couple weeks ago, from secondhand source is what I call it, with what has already been created, it's difficult to see that before all this was created, somebody had to bring this to fruition or have to materialize these ideas for us. But if we can get beyond that and allow ourselves, instead of new thought, I think if I hear new thought one more time, I'm more interested in the place of no thought. To go from new thought to no thought is something I always say too. And that doesn't mean you're a non-thinking entity with no consciousness or no attention. What it means is there's a trust and a knowing that's beyond trust, that when you put your word into something after going within, with intention, with volition, which is more powerful than will, it's because we're connected with the cosmic intelligence. How do we get to that place of being able to say something with divine intention, with such force that it has to come back? And force doesn't mean goal setting. It doesn't mean you know how it's going to happen necessarily. We might never know how certain things come to be. Sometimes the universe is working on a bigger clock or a bigger waves of motion than we can even see. But you can be sure that once you go within and are guided by that wisdom guided will, the one that's the inside world, not the outer, the heart mind. Pema Chodron would call that the bodhicitta. That's what the Buddhists call it, the bodhicitta. When you use the heart's mind, that's when we can get clear in our thoughts and allow ourselves, you've been watching at the end of our programs in the morning now, we've been incorporating a meditation song. And then right after that, it's spirit, mind, body. We're giving you something for your body. We're incorporating some Qigong practices with Deborah Weisenberger-Lippitz and Sifu Helen Yi. And that's all designed to allow for the experience of my intention. One of the things Master Liu, who taught a particular form of Qigong, I remember being at one of their retreats in Indiana a couple of years ago. And their thing was powerful intention, perfect life. Powerful intention, perfect life. So it's a way of not just goal setting, but going within, clearing away, and allowing this vision to come toward you. So at the beginning of the Qigong practices I was mentioning, and Helen is going to work with us on this today, it's casting our eyes out to the horizon and bringing it in.
Why the horizon? Why out to the horizon? Out beyond the ideas of right doing and wrongdoing. There's an open field. I'll meet you there, is what Rumi said. So out of this world of duality, of this and that, of haves and have-nots, of I'm going to materialize a thing. It's already here. It gets you out beyond that to work with the cosmic force of all that is, with your powerful intention that you connect with that source, and it allows it to come to fruition for you. So what we're talking about with planting the seed of intention is when we are no longer identified with the personal self, the small self that has its likes and dislikes and little goals, we can plant the seeds of intention in the vast intelligent awareness we all share. We all share this. It might seem like some people were the privileged few that had access to this divine field of awareness and intelligence. And that's not true. It wasn't just for a few people and then for the rest of us to just follow in line with exactly the way they did it. You'll hear me say often, for as many people as there are on the planet, that's as many paths back to the infinite as there can be. You are a walking religion. In other words, you are the philosophy of you when you tap into that cosmic intelligence through the heart mind. The infinite speaks to us through the language of our hearts. So in this way of connecting with Source, we align with the natural creative force of life. That is the energy of creation and manifestation. So it says we must all become gardeners, intentionally sowing the seeds of wisdom. So we have belief, then we have the experience of something we believe, we try it out, and our experience turns it into wisdom. I'm not just believing it anymore, I've tried this. Now I want you to think about how many times you've tried a spiritual practice and you kind of abort mission too soon. And you don't give yourself the opportunity to really get it, to really allow it to sink in. I know during this pandemic, some of my students, I have students that I teach music to, and they've been putting forth more effort because they've had more time. And coming to this place of awareness where their intention was to get better at a particular instrument, and they are, because with that intention, they've been putting forth the short-term goals that bring about the intention. But then there's this other thing, this other place of intention that's way bigger than all of this. And it does it without our knowing the steps. And so given that Major League Baseball just came back again a couple days ago, this is a story about intention, powerful intention, casting something out into the field. When I was about 9 years old, I still am, I was a big baseball fan, and I played softball. And the hometown I grew up in was Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And the Major League All-Star Game was coming, the Midsummer Classic, one of the most important days of the summer for a kid who loves baseball. So here it comes. It's July. My father comes home from work one evening and announces that he has 2 tickets to the All-Star Game. I got very excited because somehow out of the 5 children, I felt that I was the one that was going to go. Never really thinking too much about the fact that my older brother also loved baseball. He had a baseball collection and everything. He was also named after my dad. I never even thought about the fact that my dad might ask him to go. So here it comes. It's a Tuesday, and I am sitting at the dinner table, and my brother comes to the dinner table, and he's all dressed in his pirate stuff. And I look and I think, why is he all dressed up? I'm the one that's going to the game. Finish dinner, go down the stairs to go into the car, and I get to the door with my dad and my brother, and my dad turns to me and he said, I can't take you. I only have 2 tickets. And I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, I'm taking Joe to the game. Oh my gosh, you want to see somebody devastated. I just couldn't believe it. I said, well, I thought I was going. You know how much I love baseball, and you know what a 9-year-old would say. I'm better than he is anyway at that game, and la 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 la. But fact of the matter was, I wasn't going to the game. So my father looks at me and he said, you know what? I'll take you to the next one. Now I'm 9. I look at my father and I say, well, when is that going to be? And he said, oh, probably about 25 years. You know, you don't get to host the All-Star Game every year. This is me now. I realize that, but I didn't know that back then. So when they left, I turned and looked. I was in the basement of our house, the game room, and I turned away and looked out of the window. I was so frustrated and so determined because my brother laughed when my father said that. And I thought, 25 years, I'm 9. I had no concept of how long that was. But with all my might, something inside of me, like a volcano, just blew. And from here, this thought came as I looked out, as we teach out to the horizon. I didn't know that then. I didn't know the technical way of doing it. It just is what happened. Sent it out, and I just disappeared. I was everywhere and nowhere. All I saw was light, but I had the consciousness of omniscience, omnipresence, power, and I saw things. But I made this statement, I will be at that next All-Star game. And I just exploded into this. And I don't know how long that was, but next thing I knew, I was standing in the same spot I was standing in and just reeling with the feeling of what the heck was that? My mom was standing there and she said, come on, I'll get you some ice cream. And I said, okay. But I wasn't quite right. I wasn't sure what happened, but something happened. So I'm sitting there watching the All-Star game. I was allowed to have as much ice cream as I wanted that night because I was not right. Something was upsetting, but I set an intention, and it came from something way bigger that was inside me, but worked with a field that was as big or bigger than anything I'd ever experienced. So fast forward 20 some years, I am working in the financial services industry and singing and making music. But I was getting out of the business. And so I was turning over my clients to somebody else. We did a big business fair. Sure, I'd taken down all the signs in our booth, waiting for my partner to come out, my business partner. And a gentleman approaches and he looks at the booth we were standing in, and I smile at him because the whole thing's over now. And he looks at me and he said, oh, pension plans for small businesses. That's what I need. And I said, oh, okay. And I said, how do you even know that we do that? And he goes, well, your sign. And I turned around and I swear, I was the one who took the sign down and packed it. But there it still was. Don't ask me. So we develop a relationship. We help him with what he's doing. I'm getting out of the business. And he said, oh, by the way, you told me you're a singer. There's something coming to town. The All-Star Game's coming to town next. Didn't say coming to town. He goes, I'm part of a lithograph project that's happening. And the All-Star Game, they're going to be unveiling a statue to Roberto Clemente. And you want to try to write a song for that? And I said, oh my God, Roberto Clemente. I love Roberto Clemente. I'm not putting it together, like where it's going to be. I just didn't even think about it. And I said, I love Roberto Clemente. He was my hero from the time I was, a little kid. I caught the end of his career, his 3,000 hit. And when he died in 1972 in a plane crash to Managua, Nicaragua, bringing supplies, I just felt so closely aligned with him. I would just stare at his photographs and felt like I was in the picture. And it was right after he had gotten his 3,000 hit that year. Major League Baseball, his stats, he was lifetime 300 plus batting average. That's pretty astounding. Anyway, all of that for you baseball fans who are excited about baseball coming up. So here we go. I say, sure, I'll try to do that. And I'm sitting there trying to write this song. And this is two parts. It's the little me, the personal me is trying to write from reading all these books about Roberto Clemente, because all of a sudden I'm feeling I've got this awesome responsibility of trying to represent a human being who was loved by millions of people around the world, Puerto Rico included, because that was his hometown, and started the baseball city down there, all sorts of things. And one day I just sit there and I put my pen down and I say, I can't do it. And I stood up, went to get ready to go somewhere, and all of a sudden the whole song, there was something in my head that said, you can't do it, but we can, I can. From start to finish, the whole song came out. Presented it to my friend. They presented it to Major League Baseball, Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Roberto Clemente Foundation, which was Vera Clemente, Roberto Clemente Jr., Luis, the whole family. They love it. He calls me on the phone and he says, you're in. They want you to do the song. I'm like, oh my God, that's great. I said, no, wait a second. You never told me. When is it? He goes, this was November of 1993. And he said, well, it's this July coming up, 94. And I said, where is the All-Star Game again? you're going to be singing this, he said, when they unveil the statue for Roberto Clemente. And I said, so where? He said, well, Pittsburgh. And all of a sudden, it was like the sound of thunder and slamming doors almost. It's like a boom, 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 boom. And I'm standing in the game room of my house, and I'm 9 years old again. And he's still talking, and I dropped the phone. But I remembered, I'd forgotten it all these years, that I said, I will be at that next All-Star game. And here it is 20 some years later, and I'm standing there and I pick up the phone. And he said, where did you think it was going to be? I said, I just didn't think at all. I wasn't thinking about it. So that year, I was invited to everything. I sang at the All-Star game, all the festivities, fanfare. I got to meet Willie Stargell, my hero, Manny Sanguian, all the guys from the team. Got tickets to the home run derby. I was on TV. I was singing all around. I was invited to all the parties. It was an amazing thing. And then I got tickets to the All-Star game. So I called my father and I said, hey, I'm coming over to the house for a second. And I went over for dinner and I sat at the table and I said to my parents, hey, guess what, Dad? I've got tickets to the All-Star game. My dad said, great. What time do you want to pick me up? And I said, I'm going to take Joe to the game, but I'll take you to the next one. It was hilarious. And my father just laughed. And I thought to myself, the power of intention is great. We can say things, we can set goals. If I had planned and set out to do this a different way, maybe I could have gotten tickets to the All-Star game, but I had forgotten all about it, is the thing. There's this trust part. You don't have to know how it's going to happen. You just have to trust in your connection. And when you say a thing, just see it. Powerful intention, perfect life. So we went to the All-Star game and had the best time, my brother and I. Now, that's just an illustration of going within. I was meditating a lot. That was already way into the meditation. I was, as I am now, it's been a while for that activity for me. And all I can say about it is it transforms our consciousness in a way that we learn from true source, original source, that larger mind Einstein was talking about. It's not a mind at all. It's a consciousness. You are not your mind. You are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings. You're not your senses. We are this cosmic intelligence that breathes life into this body. It's a force. And I'll say, I was not operating on it's the first time I had that feeling of the explosive force of like that when I was 9. It's happened to me many, many times since then. And I just learned that when that happens, it's going to happen. Something big is going to happen. I don't need to know how. I don't need to know what's going to look like. I just know that it's coming, and it'll come right to me. It'll come right to me. But it came from deep inside of me. It wasn't from my head or my thoughts projecting it out onto something I see. There's nothing wrong with that either. But it comes from the inside. It's an inside job, this power of intention. So it's mystical. It's like transforming. It's that alchemy of the universe. It's for God. We're doing it for Goddess, for Source, for higher power. So when we're practicing these Qigong methods of casting out to the horizon, it's getting you out to the field, the edge of your conscious awareness to where you can see, and knowing that there's something beyond. Bring that in, and it brings that unconscious part of us into the conscious being within, and allows us to use that which has never been used before. It is our divine birthright to have our soul expression come to us in this way. So I invite you this week to set an intention. Set your intention to be truth awakening, self-realization, a relationship with Source, with higher power, with God, with Goddess. I invite you to allow yourself to stay awake. We're waking up really fast right now. We're waking up really fast. And there's this way that meditation, incorporate these practices into your everyday life. Little by little, things will shift. Things will fall away, and you'll let them fall away. Chisel thou my life according to thy design. is a really powerful prayer. It's beyond surrender. It's a beyond surrender. It's a participation with a knowing that it's there. So I've always had that knowing that I was being held and watched and guided, and some overwhelming love that was around and inside of me that was always working at the same time. It was simultaneous. It wasn't cause and effect. And that's the thing I spoke from and to. It was as within, so without. I spoke it from inside of me, and it exploded like a tree from a seed out to a different dimension, a vibration, a time. And all these years later, it brought it right back to me in a way. It's better than just sitting in the seats. I was pretty involved in everything that year for that All-Star game. So it was beautifully done. It was amazing. And I had a blast. So again, set your intention for the week. Truth awakening. Allow truth to awaken within you beyond the knowledge of things you already think you know. So truth awakening. May that truth be self-realization, relationship with the infinite. And once you're awake, there's a beautiful song inspired by the poetry of Rumi. And once you're awake, don't go back to sleep. It'll be easy and tempting, but don't go back to sleep.
Sit with your friends. Don't go back to sleep. Night travelers are full of light, blessed by the company they keep. Be watchful when the moon is full. The moon appears for travelers at night. This yearning's our way. Night searches for our signs. Spirit can, without delay, save us from the whirlpool of time. Be a wakeful candle in a golden dish. Weep as you melt, offering your sit with your friends, don't go back to sleep. This yearning's our way, don't go back to sleep. Weep as you melt, don't go back to sleep. Don't go back, don't go back, don't go back. Don't sink like a fish to the bottom of the sea. Surge like an ocean, don't go back to sleep. Don't go back, don't go back, don't go back. This yearning's our way, don't go back to sleep. This yearning's our way, don't go back to sleep.
again, this is Helen, and again I would like to share with you some of my Qigong practices and movements. Today I'd like to focus on the importance of mind's intention. Without that mind's intention, the movements in the Qigong practices is just movement. So you want to connect an intention with the mind. Where the mind goes, the Qi follows. So remember that little basic principle. And we can get started now. One of the things I'd like to do is go ahead and keep your feet about shoulder width apart. Relax the body. And from here, we're going to float our arms up. And as we get to shoulder height, we're going to open our arms out, reaching up with our Lao Gong points that are on the center part of the palms, drawing Qi, and then breathing it in, guiding it into the lower dantian, which is a battery center in the body. We have 3, but we will be focusing on the lower dantian. And let's do that again. Expanding the lungs, bringing in all the oxygen, drawing in the Qi, and coming in, guiding Qi into the lower dantian. Let's do that again. Coming up, and looking up to the sky, feeling that good Qi all around us, and bringing it in. Okay, from here, go ahead and relax your shoulders. I want to take you through a couple of movements in the Soaring Crane Qigong. And as I said earlier, the mind's intention. So utilizing the visualization is the key component of circulating Qi, storing it, cultivating it, and so forth. So from here, go ahead and float the arms up again, up to shoulder height, imagining 2 helium balloons attached to your wrist. And from here, go ahead and bend the wrists at 90-degree angles, and then opening the Lao Gong on the center points of your palms. These are energy centers, so you want to go ahead and draw the Qi in, looking out into the horizon, bringing that Qi into the Lao Gongs as well as the third eye. And then as you extend the arms again, you want to keep the Qi that you just brought in, keeping it into the body. Okay. Extend the arms and draw the Qi in again into the Lao Gong. Bring it into the third eye, feeling all that nourishing Qi and vitality coming into the body. Extend the arms. Drawing the Qi back into the body. Imagining it moving along the meridian channels, going deep into the bone marrow, extending out again, and holding it in to the body. Feeling all the trillions of cells being nourished by this vitality of Qi. Again, pressing out. And relaxing the wrists. Extend the arms parallel to the body. And now, bending the wrist at 90 degrees, drawing Qi in this direction, filling your body, filling your organs with beautiful, pure energy. Extending out again, hold the Qi in, and making that connection, a macrocosmic connection with your microcosmic body connection. Feel that nurturing Qi energy Let's do that one more time. Expanding out. Connecting to all of the universe. Grabbing all that wonderful chi energy. Strengthening the vitality of it in our own bodies. And extending out. Relaxing the wrists. Draw the arms down to the side as we prepare for closing. From here, again, bring your arms up. Feeling the nourishment of your practice, guiding the chi down the central channel of the body. Feeling all that good chi, pushing out any blockages or stagnation or impurities. Feeling refreshed and revitalized, continuing to recharge that battery center of the lower down Tien as you consistently practice Qigong and meditation. Meditation allows the body to release resistance, which is one of the main reasons why we meditate. Releasing resistance out of the body and mind allows for the body to naturally find balance and harmony. Because that's the natural tendency of all the cells in the body, is to stay balanced, stay healthy, and maintain our well-being. And there you have it for today. Thank you so much.
Don't go back to sleep. In this moment of awakening and of consciousness, we recognize that we are ever turning in a spiral with the consciousness of the source of love, of being that lights our speech, lights our thoughts, lights our breath, lights our way in all the cells in our body. May we awaken to that oneness, which is that source, that force, that creative spark within us, and may it explode like the atom of our consciousness, like the volcano of magic, to bring forth from us, from the seed of our intention, that which is divine in service to capital S self and all others. Awaken within us conscious will, conscious health, conscious vitality, conscious realization. Yogananda says, "O eternal youth of body and mind, abide in us forever and forever." Om Shanti, peace, Amen, Ashe. We thank you for joining us at SoulCall Ministries, and we appreciate your contributions. To donate to SoulCall, please visit us on our website at soulcallministries.org/donate. Or if you're fond of shopping on Amazon, go in under the Amazon Smile part of Amazon and find us. It's SoulCall, one word, SoulCall Inc. And you can choose us as your charity, and we appreciate it. We are doing things around the world and in our local towns of Columbus, Ohio, St. Petersburg, Florida. We're doing some different things. If there's something you would like to see us do, or a group of people you would like for us to support, please send us some information about them at info@soulcallministries.org. SoulCall belongs to you, and we vote on where we send our tithes. So once you subscribe to our YouTube channel and subscribe to our newsletter, which you can do at our soulcallministries.org, we will add you to the invitation to let us know whom you would like for us to support, and we vote on it. And once a quarter, we send tithes. And sometimes during the month, we'll send a small tithe too. Like right now, we're sending money to food banks, different types of food banks. There are many people who are struggling. Also, we're writing letters to the elderly. There's more information about that online. We've got classes coming up, some brand new classes Natalia Zuckerman and I are having a workshop, a 6-week workshop. It'll be on Monday evenings, a songwriting, singing your soul's song or songs. And then Reverend Christy Hardwick is wellness and nutrition. It's cosmic. She's brilliant. Check out more information on the website about that class. And then later at the end of August, I'll be teaching a class based on the book, The Vortex, from the Abraham Hicks tradition. So check all that out online. We thank you for being with us. Like us on Facebook and share us with your friends, please, on Instagram and Facebook and social media. And if you're in need of prayer, we've got a wonderful prayer team at SoulCall Ministries. You can send a prayer request to prayers, soulcallministries.org/prayers, soulcallministries.org/prayers, and know that you are not alone. So wherever you are this week, we send you so much love and light, and know that you are loved.